a 5-star shout out.
I'm not gonna say it because I don't believe in it. I don't believe in. You can't make you know what I'm talking about.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We're here. Welcome to the side, Jawn. We're coming to y'all a little bit earlier than usual, but we ready. Each and every Saturday morning we come to y'all. It's Dennis Holmes, the ignorant thinker, and it's the chocolate girl.
Good morning, everybody. I'm glad to be here on Saturday, my favorite day of the week. Excited.
Yes, we have a special guest in the building, Daymond Patterson II. All right. Not just the coach and a trainer, but also an athlete in collegiate football, also high school football as well, and played in Texas, which is where football's big at. That's what they say. We're going to get the story from him, from the horse's mouth today, how big Texas football is and what goes on in Texas football. Okay, but how you doing, though, Daymond?
Man, I'm great. I thank y'all for having me on. Good morning to everybody that's watching. I appreciate you for, like I said, extending the offer. We've been talking about it for a while, and I'm excited to be here. Any morning that I can get up and move around, I'm excited to do that, let alone be able to wake up early and be able to talk and give back. So I'm ready to go.
All right, that's good to hear. Now, one of the biggest things I wanted to talk about, right? And me and Sharon, when we first met 3 years ago, first, I want to say discussion we had was about college athletes getting paid. Now, this is before the NIL became in full effect. You know, I had my side of the story. Well, you know what, Sharon, you can tell your side of the story, Sharon. Tell me exactly how you felt for your side.
Oh, about college athletes getting paid? I was against it then. I'm still against it. I don't like it. I feel like it takes the focus off of what it's supposed to be all about. And they don't go to college to save their family. That's not what that's for. That's what the pros are supposed to be for, not college. You're supposed to go to college to get your education and whatever other training you need to prepare you for the professional life, period. Be it athletics, be it science, teaching, whatever that is. And even though they do make the university money, but the university uses that money to provide education and to upgrade their universities, which is what they're supposed to do. They're in business to do that. But instead, people vilify these universities as if they're the devil for making money off the players. Well, corporations make money off of employees all over the world. All over the world. If I work at IBM, I don't get paid as much as the CEO, even though my talent is what brings IBM its success. I don't get a portion of that. They can use my likeness in a video. They don't have to pay me extra for that. The arguments that I hear to justify it, to me, are ridiculous. So I was against it then, I'm against it now. And now that it started, I'm still against it. And it's slowly but surely proving my point of all the reasons why I said it wouldn't work. So we'll see. Just let it happen a few more years and people will start seeing what I was talking about 4 years ago, 4 and 5, 6 years ago.
Okay. Now my blowback on this situation was I think they should get paid because the NCAA has been making money off these kids. I want to say something about 1906 or something like that. I don't know the exact on the year, but over 100 years. Yeah. But and the same, and they still not paying. NCAA is still not paying kids, but in the same thing, I was saying it should be a cap on it. Like, well, the part that I do not like is that you got a guy like Archie Manning, who I think played maybe 1 or 2 games. I'm not exact. And he's making more money than a Brock Purdy, who's in the NFL. That's why I said it needs to be a cap on it. That's what I was saying. I said they can get paid, but it's probably going to be a cap on it because next thing you know, high school kids going to get paid and the Pop Warner kids going to get paid.
It's true. It's
That's what I said. I said that back then.
It's already started.
But that was it. I said they should get paid, but it should be a cap. That was the only thing. But Daymond, you here? You've been an athlete. I see your story.
100%. First, I believe all athletes should get paid. The reason why I believe that is because we go to college, and it sounds good. I know what Chopper Rider said. It sounds good that we're going there to get an education, but you're not. You're going there to play football. If you was going there to get an education from the college, they would let you pick any major you wanted to pick. But they give you a list of majors that fits with the football schedule. You don't fix your football schedule around your major. So when you go there and say, hey, I want to be a rocket scientist, they say, hold on, those classes are during football practice. Pick African-American studies. Pick communications. Pick basket weaving. When I went to my brother's graduation at UTEP, 17 of the 20 guys that graduated had organizational communication. I said, what is that degree? He said it's a bunch of degrees put together so the athletes can have as much time to be on the football field. Said it's not a real degree. I know she said if she works at IBM, they don't get a big piece of the pie for what they do compared to what IBM makes. But they do get paid to do their job. Right? And then let's just say, yeah, so they do get paid to do their job. But then we say, okay, college shouldn't pay an athlete. Fine, let's say we can go with that. But why should I, as an athlete, because I'm an athlete, not be able to make any money because I play college football? If you're saying you should not pay me, what other job in the world says I'm not going to pay you, but you better not go make any money anywhere else either? Did you know if I was in college, if I stopped on the side of the road and did not have gas money, and a stranger was like, oh, I see you stopped on the side of the road. Here, let me go get you some gas. Here's $20. I could be ineligible for $20? Did you know there was a kid at SMU whose dad died? The coach took him out to go eat pizza. This is before all the NIL stuff. Takes him out to go eat. Compliance finds about it. Coach gets in trouble. Player gets in trouble. Another player at a college. He gets money just like a lot of these other players get money. Sending money back. At KU, when I got there, we got $383 a month to survive on. That's not a lot of money. And when you say that, like say you shouldn't get paid, think about this. $383. My phone bill, because we all have to have a phone, right? We agree with that, right? You're in college. That's $100. Gas costs money. At KU, when I was there, you had to buy lunch every day. Only breakfast and dinner was provided Monday through Friday. And we had to buy breakfast, lunch, and dinner on the weekends. How do you make it through with $183? Phone bill's $100. I'm down to $283. Lunch every day. We know how much lunch is on a college campus. Gonna be $7 to $10 because everything's marked up. And I gotta buy every meal while then going getting toiletries. While to go put food in my refrigerator, drinks in my refrigerator. I could go on and on and on. The system was built on keeping you at the bottom in college. And like I said, if we're going to go get education, why can't I go be a doctor? My girlfriend played golf. She's a dentist. We own a dental office out here. You know the only reason why she could do her major It's because they told her, hey, this is an individual sport. You go practice by yourself. If you want to do that, she did not get to practice with the team because the major she picked was an intensive major. So she literally, when during the season, obviously I couldn't. Out of season, I would go up there and then go get the bucket of balls and we would practice together. But they're literally like, you can't practice with the team because you're a major. So that's the thing. We keep on saying these scholarships, but the scholarships and the majors that you get as an athlete is not leading these kids into successful jobs thereafter. That's the whole point of what we're saying college is, well, let me go get a major that gets a successful job. I say, hey, I want to go do this. They'd be like, are you sure? Hey, man, that's an intensive major right there. You're probably going to be writing papers. You're not going to have a lot of time. Hey, we're going to have to redshirt you, man. And remember, this is an 18-year-old kid that's hoping he's going to the NFL. And a coach that has sent maybe guys to the NFL telling you that's not the way to do it. What are you supposed to do with $383 a month? Like I said, it sounds good until you're ineligible for getting $10 for something to eat. Where are all these basketball players coming from? Not great communities. Where do most of the football players come from? Not great communities. So when a lot of my friends at KU and a lot of other people have been documented and said this, they get their scholarship check. I was working at Church's Chicken, the shoe store, wherever, Walmart. So I was giving mama when I was in college $300, $500, $700, whatever, to help pay bills. When I then go to college, that money is now out of the house. So what does mama ask? Hey, send $150 back. Mama only get $383. So like I said, it sounds good to not get paid until you realize you literally are living on an unlivable wage. $383 to do everything a month. And why do you think there's college kids out here going and selling jerseys, going and robbing people? Because they're trying to eat, literally. They're trying to eat. And so I've just seen it too much. And this is the thing as well. And I know you talked about, hey, we got to put a cap on it. Well, how can you put a cap on somebody's wages as far as what they can make in the free market? Because remember, nobody's singly paying me. So Just say Nike gives me $1 million. You're telling me now I can't go get any other deals because I make $1 million? Like I said, no.
No. I just think that Nike shouldn't have given you $1 million. They should have given you 100,000.
But why? But think about this. Why should Nike give you 100,000 if they're going to make 10 million off of you? They're giving you the million for a reason.
Right. I understand the endorsement.
Nike's not giving anybody $1 million that they're making $1 million off of. They gave LeBron $100 million because they knew they was going to make $1 billion, right?
Exactly.
So of course they're not going to give a kid that they're not going to make the return on that money. And I've always asked, why is it only in sports do we do this? Because we're on this platform, YouTube, right now, right? Yeah. We have no problem with the 9-year-old YouTube girls that she makes $25 million a year, Nastasha. Mr. Beast is worth $500 million. Why is there no problem with the 16, 17, 12-year-old Mose Bowes off of Shark Tank? He was 11 when he went on Shark Tank. Got over $1 million company. Why should he not have a cap? He's 11. Why should he make more than me? Think about it. We only do it to sports. No other industry of kids or young people do you say, no, you shouldn't make more. Lil Bow Wow, Taylor Swift. When these people, do we say they shouldn't make more than Lil Wayne because Lil Wayne's older? It's only in sports that we say we should put a cap on people. There's no other industry that would say that.
I'm going to tell you why I say the cap. Because they have a rookie salary cap that they put out. You got to play 4 years under a certain contract and get a certain amount of money, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for some players, like a Bo Nix or a couple other 6-year starters like that, they'll just stay in school because they'll make more money in school than they would be in the 3rd round draft pick.
Facts. But the thing is, they have a cap because the NFL is paying them. Nobody is paying them. I'm going and getting deals. That same deal that we're talking about on a salary cap on, like say, let's say Bryce Young, right? Bryce Young still got the Nike money. That's still outside money. There's no cap on how much money Bryce Young can go make outside of football.
No, not at all.
So that's the same thing. We're not talking, the school's not paying them. If the school was paying them, yes, a cap. But think about it. Who outside of an athlete would, so if right now we can make it equivalent, we got all the smoke, the pivot. Y'all are a smaller podcast than them, right? Up and coming. If somebody comes to y'all and offers y'all $50 million because they like it, do we say, but y'all are up and coming? Y'all shouldn't make more than the pivot people. Like, there's no place other than sports where we say you should make more money than somebody older than you. What you eat is what you kill. If I can go get a deal for myself right now, why should I not take it?
Right.
Nobody's paying me that. I'm going and getting deals and sponsorships. That's where they're making the money. It's no different than boxers. They get paid to fight, but guess what's all on their pants? Sponsorship money that's unlimited for them to promote, correct? They get paid by the fight, but I also go and gather sponsorship and endorsement deals. That's unlimited.
Well, let me just say this about the cap. I never said anything about the cap. That's all you did.
No, he was talking to me.
Yeah, I know that. That's what I'm pointing out. That it's all you. I don't think there should be a cap. I don't feel like they should get paid at all. Period. They're not employees of the university. The universities pay employees. They don't pay student athletes except through scholarships. That's it. And for people to say also these rules you're talking about that they can't get $10 on the side of the road. I've never heard stuff like this. I'm a reader. I read stuff, and I was immersed in the college athletics world when I was in college, when I went to school. I've never heard that they couldn't pick their own major. I knew athletes that were on an honor roll all 4 years, all 3 years or 4 years, whenever they decided to declare. They weren't all majoring in underwater basket weaving. I knew some, not only were they in broadcast journalism, but they were also in law or medicine. I mean, and they did not have to practice separate from the team. No, they practiced with the team. They traveled with the team. They were full participants. And what these universities did, they provide people to assist them and help them manage their schedules. That's what they did. I went to a Big Ten university. Maybe that was your experience, but none of that happened. Hold on, let me finish. None of that happened where I went. That's all I'm going to say. And I've interviewed and talked to hundreds of people about this issue. I've never heard anything like that. I have heard, people, most of them arguing me down about, they can't do this and they can't do that and what they can't do, but they don't want to acknowledge what they can do. And just like my colleague Trisha Joy is in the comments saying, we are talking about people who are going to school on scholarship. I'm not talking about Tracy who's there walk on, not on scholarship. I'm talking about these scholarship people, the people who are the stars, because most of the stars are on scholarship. And I'm saying if you can get a scholarship, especially if you got a free ride, a full ride to go to school and play any type of sport, I don't care if it's tennis, softball, I don't care what it is, then why do you need to get an actual salary, especially not from the university? I know that the universities are not paying these kids now. I know that. I know about the rules. I've read all that. It's not coming from them. I got it. But when this issue was largely discussed before the NIL rule came out, they were the example and the reasons why people were saying they needed to get paid was two things, because the universities are making money and the NCAA is making money. Now they came out with an NIL situation where neither one of them are paying them. This is coming from private industry, paying them just like a job, just paying them for their name, image, and likeness for a university program. I just think people are so focused on the money. You're missing what's going to happen in the whole industry over the years because of this, the NIL and the transfer portal too. And you can't talk about NIL without talking about the transfer portal, because it goes hand in hand with this player empowerment movement that's going across all sports, be it professional or amateur. And all of a sudden, the players need to have the control over where they want to go because the coaches can. Well, why can't we? We can't all do what other people do all the time. It's not, everybody doesn't have the same cachet and the same right to do the same thing. I don't understand where this thought even came from. The coach is the coach. Yeah, he can cut and run, but he's also an employee of the university. When they coach these teams, they are an employee. It's not the same. So for people to keep comparing, well, a coach can say I'm staying and then they can cut and leave in the middle of the season. Why can't players do it? Because they're players. That's just duh common sense to me. I don't like any of it. I don't like the NIL. I don't like the transfer portal. Either one of them, I think it's a bunch of bull and it's going to hurt the entire college sports industry, period. That's how I feel about it. It's starting to happen now. And people who are hollering, oh, it's bringing more parity. Okay, that's because you're probably one of those people who hate the people who have been on top, the schools that have been on top all these years. And you want your little school to be on top. So you think this is going to lead to more parity for years. It's not. It's going to happen right now until this keeps happening so many times that programs start getting ruined because they can't keep players and have consistent 5-star players at their university like they used to because there's too much movement. And we'll see. That's where I stand with it.
No, I definitely understand that. And like I said, not every player didn't get to pick, but we've had players after being that had an NBA and everything else. But the only player that I ever saw got suspended on our team indefinitely was the guy with 2 majors with 2 degrees because he would always be strolling straight from school. We beat Iowa State. And you know what our head coach told our captain that was a 4th-round draft pick in front of the AD, in front of the school president in compliance? He didn't play the best game. He said, if I see you take one more job as a student senator, if I see you do one more hour of community service, if I see you join one more group off this campus, you're off the team. I have no reason to lie about any. So that's what I'm saying. This is what's being pushed to us. So
I have no problem with that.
What?
That's about schedule. That's about availability. You got to be available.
No, he's there. He's at practice. You said we're going to do everything to get ready for the future in school. So he's doing that. He's not missing practice. He's not missing a game. He's not late to nothing. But because coach feels he's spending too much of his free time doing school stuff and being in the community, because you said that's what we're there to do, school things, right? We're getting a scholarship. So he's trying to network because the NFL is not guaranteed. But I get threatened to get kicked off the team because, once again, free time as you know, there's only 20 hours that you're mandated to practice because after that, it's over the rules. So how after I do my 20 hours, I go over here to set my future up, student senator, hours of service. And now I'm getting threatened to kick off the team for being a good person. So I'm telling you, when we were in the summer, we got to do one in June, 1 in July. We got to go to the booster and family's house where they did a big cookout for the team. We have to sign in and make sure you have to sign in and say, hey, this is a school-sanctioned event that we're going to go get this free barbecue and food at. You can do one thing. If you go to those same people throughout the year and say, hey, can I come eat your food at your house? You will be in trouble. Dez Bryant got kicked out of school at Oklahoma State for having a dinner with Deion Sanders. These things are documented. He had a dinner. Deion didn't give him $1 million. They went and had a dinner, and they kicked him out of Oklahoma State. Career over.
Okay, I got it.
So like I said, I'm not making nothing up. Like, these are things that we know for a fact has happened. You can go see the things that happen. When Johnny Football goes on a Heisman run and A&M raises $26 million in a year off of his name and his jerseys and this and that, and Johnny can go sign an autograph, right? Think about this. Johnny signs an autograph for $100. Illegal. That's my name. How can I not use my own name? School's not paying me. The school says, we're not going to pay you. Nobody else should pay you. And you don't find no way to make no money off of yourself. Where else? I keep asking everybody, and nobody can give me an answer. Where else in the world can they say, we're not going to pay you, and you better not go make no money anywhere else? I want to know the job.
It's not a job. No. That's the thing. That's the difference. It's not a job.
Okay, that's the thing. We're saying it's not.
They're
a job.
Not employees of the university. That's the reason why that lawsuit was filed by those athletes to become employees. So that because they felt like being deemed an employee would give them more rights to claim this and demand this stuff. Okay, that's why that lawsuit was filed, because they're not employees. So that is you can't just gloss over that and keep comparing apples and oranges.
No,
because that is apples and oranges that you're comparing, in my opinion.
Okay, but you're saying they're not. If I'm not an employee, so think about this. If I'm not your employee, correct? How can you tell me how can you tell a non-employee where he can go make money at? What job that you're not an employee of?
Because it's not about the money. It's not about hold it. I'm answering your question. It's not about the money. It's about the time. That's what they're talking about. I'm not saying it's right. Listen, I'm not saying that the NCAA rules are right. Okay? I'm not saying that. I think them going to dinner, that's a stupid rule. But the problem I'm having is they came out with these NIL rules, and it's not solving what the real problem was. The real problem is that the NCAA rules were ridiculous. And that's what needed to be changed. They could have changed those rules without paying players, without setting up NIL. They could have changed the rules. It should not be illegal for him to take him to dinner. You're right. That's a stupid rule. Get rid of that rule. Get rid of the rule if he wants to do a photo opportunity as himself. But if he's going to be exposed, promoting himself as John Smith of this university, then hell yeah, no, you can't make money off of that. That's the university that's giving you that opportunity. No. And also, you were talking about, telling them where they can go. These athletes have to be available. Yes, they can only practice 20 hours, but they have other things that they need to do that's off the field to prepare for the game on Saturday or whatever day they play on. It's a lot more to it than just practice, as you know, as an athlete.
But you don't do it 24 hours a day, though. So
no, but they're not requiring them 24 hours a day.
I know, that's what I'm saying. So
they're not requiring that.
But when we're saying that, how do I not have time to be in the student union? How do I not have time to think about it? You're arguing that the coach is right, that you should be preparing for football games and not doing no community service.
No, I'm not arguing. No, I'm not.
Because that's
I'm
what
not arguing that.
He was going to kick him off the team for.
I'm not arguing that, though. That's not what I'm arguing.
You have to be available. Community service is taken away from nothing.
That's not what I'm arguing. I don't know who else said that, but that's not what I'm talking about.
So you said he has to be available, and there's more time. I specifically said, he said if you join any other thing,
okay, what university was that at?
The University of Kansas.
Okay, well then that's at University of Kansas.
Okay, I'm speaking on
I don't believe that you're going to find that by and large across many of the universities. I think that was a specific way that he chose to run his program. But that is not backed by NCAA rules. That's just how he chose to enforce the rule. That's how he chose to do that. Or he or her or whoever made that rule. That's how they decided that they were going to run their program. But that stuff didn't happen where I went. Like I said, they could go and do community service. They had breaks. I remember taking trips with some of my athletic friends. We went and did all kinds of stuff. I had one of my friends who was on the team do a community event for me in my hometown. I had him come and go to the Girls and Boys Club and do an event. That wasn't sponsored by the school. He just did it as a favor to me. And he did it. He did it during his break. I mean, that stuff, that right there, I'm sorry, that might have been there at Kansas, but
No,
I
I'm
don't
not.
believe that that's what happens most places.
But I'm not saying you can never do community service because I did a lot of it. I'm saying when community service, when school, right, when education starts getting anywhere close to being, remember, everybody's telling us we're a student athlete, but when that student part gets close to that athlete part, what will happen, man? You've been around football enough, right, in sports. What happens when that student gets really close to that athlete? Does the coach tell you to go be a better student or be a better athlete?
I don't care what the coach will tell you to do. It's up to you as the player. What's important to you? As far as Trisha and I have talked about this, and Dennis too, many times. If your goal is to go to college to play a sport, then you're going for the wrong doggone reason. Because that's not what the university is for. You might as well just go and try to train on your own and go to the draft and go try, not the draft, go to the combine and try to get on that way. Because if you're going to go to college, college is not a free for all. That you're supposed to want an education. You're supposed to want to better yourself. And those who don't want to, I guess that's the reason why some of these athletes end up broke after their professional career, because they didn't get any of the business acumen that they were supposed to get when they were in college because they didn't take it seriously. And they took stuff like underwater basket weaving. But that's on them. That's not on the system. That's what they chose to do. That's just the way it is. That's how I feel about it. Education is the most important thing that you can have, because even if you blow out your knee, you got to be able to use your mind and make money to take care of yourself and your family. Period.
100%. And I agree with
that.
If
you going to school and you got big dreams, and that's great, but all of those dreams go by the wayside if you're injured to the point where you can no longer perform that sport at a high level. And you need to think about that and prepare for that. If you don't, that's on you.
100%. And I agree with that. I was the only guy who graduated in my class on time. I did it early. You don't have to tell me, like I said, about the education. I had the 3.8 in high school, did it all. But what I'm saying is you're living in a perfect world. When I literally just seen Lamar Jackson get $265 million, and I'm an 18, 19, 20-year-old kid, and I'm thinking about where I come from, and I'm like, dang, I need to go take this test. The coach saying we got a big game, and if you miss this practice, you don't play. Like, it's not easy to just say, well, you know, there's peer pressures put upon you with coaching. When I had a concussion, put it this way, it goes past even what they care about you. When I got my concussion, I literally had to take a test. I said, did I pass my test? They said, no. Took it Wednesday. Did I pass my test? No. Friday before the game, because I'm a starter, did I pass my test? Do you know what they said to me? Hey, you could have, word for word, you could have woke up out of the bed, slipped, bumped your head. You could slip in the shower. Anytime you go on the field, there's a risk. So I said, so you're telling me I didn't pass my test, but y'all want me to play? The head trainer and my position coach said, I can't say that out of my mouth. So what I'm just saying is it's not easy. When I had my concussion, MRIs and CAT scans when you're a starter, come back 24 hours, 48 hours. Once you literally have that exit eval when you're done with the school, I never got my exit eval back because I'm no longer useful to them. It's not like the university sitting there trying to take care of you. But we can go on and on about it about all this. Like I said, we can definitely, I see they say go to the next topic. But I definitely appreciate
him. We decide.
I don't want to say the whole, I know we talked about the time.
Yeah.
No, that's fine. That's fine. That's just, I'm just playing with BJ. That's BJ that said that.
Miss Joyce said something about business. Where did we refer to about starting a business? Did we refer to that? I see she mentioned it a couple of times.
What she's talking about is starting a business means when you get an NIL deal, that's a business.
Yeah.
That you're starting a business because you have to create a whole business around that. You can't just
I understand that.
You know, so that's what she's talking about. Yeah.
Okay, no, I'm just making sure because she didn't.
Yeah, I got it. That's what she's talking about.
No. I'm saying the athletes can have time to do stuff. We're seeing that in NIL now. I'm also saying that coaches want to limit your time of doing things that they don't want you to do that's taken away from. Remember, the coach wants you in the locker room training and watching film.
Exactly.
So he can go make $11 million. He doesn't. While you're wanting to make $11 million, I want to go do community service. Because listen, I'm just gonna ask you this and we can end. What did you say? The reason why athletes go broke, right, is because they don't take it serious.
I didn't say the reason. I said one of the reasons. That is one of the reasons.
They take terrible majors and this and that. But yet we're all still talking about, if I'm trying not to go with the peer pressure of the coach who wants me in the locker room, and I'm trying not to go broke, and I'm trying to get the networking, and I'm trying to get the community service. So when I get out, I can say, hey, I've done this community service. I interned for this. That's not what the coach wants you to do, but you're saying we should do what the coach wants us to do because more goes into it. You're arguing.
That's how I feel. That's how they're going to, how they run their program. When you decide to go to a program, you visited, you've talked to other players that go to, you know what you're getting yourself into. That's part of the business. I don't like everything about my industry either, but when I joined my industry, I had to accept what it's all about. That's the price I paid to be able to work and go in that industry and do the thing I love to do. That's how it is. And if you don't like it, then go do something else. That's how I feel. I don't feel that you should be able to get in there and then say, oh, by the way, this is what I need from it. You need to treat me and give me this because this is what I need. No, it's a program. You don't do programs on an individual basis. Wait a minute, let me finish because you talked a long time. So let me finish. What I'm saying is these are supposed to be student athletes for a reason. There has never been a problem calling them that until the modern era. All of a sudden, with this new wave of thinking, it's a problem calling them student athletes because they say, well, the universities don't care about us really. That's been that way forever. When I was in school, they had players get hurt and lose their scholarship. That was going on then. But that's what you sign up for when you decide this is the route you want to take. If you don't like those odds, then don't do it. Do something else. Find another way. There's not only one track to do things. And no, I'm not living in a perfect world. That's not me living in a perfect. I don't have like blinders on or looking at pie in the sky or unrealistic. I'm looking at this realistically. And these young athletes need to understand they need to prepare for their future, period. And you don't do that just by getting an NIL deal because there are athletes working just as hard on that team who are not the stars. They're not there on scholarships. So their parents are having to pay some for them to go to school and play basketball, tennis, football, wherever they're playing. And they might be pretty good athletes, but they're not going to get an NIL deal. Their family might be at home struggling to put those pennies together to pay because they only got a partial scholarship or no scholarship at all, and they walked on the team. That's why it's a huge deal when these walk-on athletes are granted scholarships to the point where they make videos and release it to people to see because it's a big deal for them to get that scholarship. Why? Because they're getting a free education. I don't understand why people can't understand that. And if you don't value that free education, you don't think that free education is valuable, go ask the student who can't go because they can't get any help to go and they can't afford to go. Go ask that person who's out here working just as hard and is probably just as smart and might be just as athletic, but they can't go to school for that reason. So they're at home doing whatever they're doing to try to make ends meet. Education is important. That's my thing. And I think that people who do not value that and talk about going to school just to get to the pros, I feel like that's the way they choose to look at it. And that's the price that they pay. And I still don't agree with it. Nobody in all these years has ever been able to change my mind. And I've listened to many so-called good reasons as to why this is the best thing for these athletes. I just disagree. Last thing I'm gonna say though is when I was in college, I hung around with all these scholarship athletes. They didn't starve, they didn't go without clothes, they ate, they were able to get money for the parents, all kind of stuff. They did it.
Well, we
I don't
all
want to
made
hear
it
this.
through.
I
That
don't want
doesn't
to
mean
hear about these broke athletes and they couldn't do nothing and they struggling and blah blah. I don't want to hear it.
But all I'm going to say is, ma'am, if thousands of them are saying it, it's not. That's kind of like, you know, if we're talking about a women topic, we're like, no, she's lying. But if thousands of us saying, if we're saying about a black folks topic, just because the people you around, right? That's what we as black folks fight for. Just because the people you are around saying such and such doesn't happen doesn't mean others aren't experiencing it. So you can't say
exactly.
So,
exactly. You're right.
And with this, I'm gonna ask, do you have any kids by chance?
Yes, I do.
Did they go to school? I'm assuming they went to college, right?
No, he didn't go to college.
Okay, but if he had did he play sports? Was he instrument or do anything extracurricular?
He played sports, but he didn't go to the collegiate level, and he didn't go
my
to the scholarship level. No.
Okay, my question is this: your son, 5-star, right? He goes to Alabama, whatever Big Ten school you went to. You're telling me Alabama, because they're doing this, says, "Hey, we want you here. We want to give you $3 million because they're giving some of these kids that." You were telling me, you will tell your son, do not take that $3 million. Go get that free education and we'll figure it out after. Is that
what? What are you? Wait a minute. You're gonna wait a minute. You're gonna have to wait. Hold it. You're gonna have to ask that question again. Ask that question again.
Your son is a 5-star athlete. Alabama offers him to come to the school like they do with some of these other kids. $3 million NIL today. Are you going to tell him, son, we're only going for the education, or are you going to tell him to take the $3 million?
That question right there is not a fair question, but I will answer it. The NIL rule is the rule. I believe in following whatever the rule is. And if the rule is he can get that money, then I'm going to tell him to take the money. My thing is, it doesn't even need to be the rule. So if it wasn't the rule, Alabama wouldn't be offering him $3 million. The reason why that's being offered is because the rule is there, because the rules have changed. That's the reason why the schools that can put up the most money are going to get the most best players. That's what's going to happen. So you're buying teams, number one. And number two, if you get to go to a university that has richer boosters, they're going to get the better players. It's going to be spread out more widely. So you're not going to have powerhouse teams. And I'm not just talking about the blue bloods. I'm talking about all of them. And we shall see. It's starting to change now. Because as this keeps going, the Georgias and the Alabamas, one year, it's going to be some obscure school somewhere that wins the national championship because they just happen to have some rich people that paid them NIL deals to go there. Okay. That's what's going to happen. It's just mark my word, because I'm telling you, everything that I said was going to start happening has started happening, down to middle school students now getting money. And it's presenting a problem in these Pop Warner games. This is why you see these parents flipping out on referees and coaches and fighting at these games now, because there's money on the line. Money makes people do strange things and do things they never thought they would do. Why is this happening? Because there's no limit. If you're going to pay the college, you're going to have to start paying the high school. Then if you start paying the high school, you're going to have to start paying the middle school. It's not going to end.
We said that. That's what we agreed on.
You're not going to be able to put a cap on it, Dennis. There's not going to be a cap. So just get that out of your mind. It's either going to be
the cap been going. They're not.
They're not going to ever do a cap.
Right. But I was just saying, when we started this conversation, me, you, Trisha, Joy, Ron, a couple other people was there. I was just saying at that point, before the NIL deals came out, which is 3 years ago when we did this, I said they should put a cap on it. And DP said shouldn't be no cap because, and it's not a cap, so it is what it is. But I know, like I said, those guys were like, they in their third year, and they looking at it like, well, I make more here than I would make there. I'll stay here. That's some of the things they're gonna be looking at. But DP, I'm gonna let you get the last word out. Then we're gonna change the subject.
We'll change it. But like I said, Miss Joy, and I understand all the LLC stuff you're talking. I own multiple businesses, and so I understand exactly what you're talking about. And I don't just talk to have arguments. I actually have ownership in a company called NIL LLC for athletes to get their LLCs, and for us to do that. So when I say this, I'm not just saying throw the money at them. I'm helping them. We have a company where they get the NIL, we get your taxes done. We're gonna tell you, hey, you are now LLC owner. When you go and buy that car, let's make sure it weighs more than 6,000 pounds so we can write it off. We're saying when you go out to Cancun for spring break, wear your logo. We're gonna use that as a tax write-off. Go sell some shirts abroad. So when I'm saying just throw the money, we're only having a quick over the thing conversation. It is what it is, but I'm really over here teaching and putting these kids in the position to get write-offs. Do not spend your money. I'll finish it with this. The reason why I'm passionate about it is because I'm an entrepreneur. We do have lawyers. We have lawyers and everything. We have a legitimate company. When COVID hit, this is right before NIL popped off. COVID hit. I had 15 of my college athletes back in town. I said, this is why you have to have a nest egg and prepare yourself for the real world. And when that hit, I had 15 college athletes in my facility. 15 of them left out with a brokerage account. 15 of them left out with a crypto account. All of them have brokerages in money. So why I'm saying that is because I don't care about sports like that. I care about life and entrepreneurship. And I don't say all this. We own 3 facilities here, dental office, trucking company, barbershop, and all that. So when I'm speaking of this, I know what that jump start does for a kid that could got the $50,000, $60,000, $100,000 because I retired. Yes, ma'am, we have the lawyers. Like I said, I'm not trying to go back and forth and argue. I'm not the lawyer. We have that. I don't want to argue with you. I'm telling you, we have a legitimate companies where we're doing very big business and putting things in place for these athletes. I don't want to touch these athletes' money. I want them to understand that those people that y'all are letting touch y'all's money is the ones taking y'all's money. I don't want none of your money. I'm showing you how I've done this by myself. I retired at 29 years old from the workforce because of one thing. I had the college scholarship, right, that allowed me to have 0 debt. Cool. But then as I worked, my parents allowed me to stay at the house and build up a nest egg. So I didn't get an NIL. So I had to build it over 4 years, and I was able to retire and do everything I'm doing now. That's what I'm about, is athlete and people empowerment, Black folk empowerment. And I know without money, it's hard to change anything. You can't change a law without money. As sad as that is, you can't change a law without money because the people you're lobbying against has more money, and they say, if we want those guns to stay NRA, why they're always in there, we're going to put money behind it. So when we want things changed in our community, it's hard to do it by picking sides. You want something changed, you got to put your money where your mouth is. You want to retire, you got to put your money where your mouth is. You want to move bomb out the hood, money where your mouth is. I literally had an opportunity to go to the league, got hurt, didn't go. I didn't try to do all that. I went and immediately started my own business. So I'm not the guy that chased the league. I started kick return, punt return, corner, wide receiver as a true freshman, 157 pounds. I didn't ever chase the NFL. People say, why you done? I said, bro, you don't got to play football to make money. My whole spiel to these athletes is I want you to look at not just only me, but somebody like me and say, this guy right here never touched the NFL dime, and he's fine. That's what I preach to my guys. Stop worrying about sports so much and worry about how to figure out in real life. So when we have this, there's a lot broader context than NIL just with athletes. I want the people that look like us in, like I said, white people, Mexican people, anybody. I love everybody. But the people that look like my son, my daughter, because of what we're going through, I want you to have an opportunity to say, you know what? I don't got to go work for that corporation. I have my own. I understood this back in college when I did get my NIL money. I got the LLC. I know what the write-offs. I invested in the stock market because technically that kid that got that $1 million at Bama 5 years, he puts that up because he has somebody telling him to do it. Guess what? He don't got to go work at AT&T if he don't want to. His money's sitting right. That residual. So just want to end it on that. I'm not arguing about I think they should get paid because I'm not big on the sports stuff. I'm big on you don't got to go to the league to get it. But if I can get it, then you can go live the life you want to, regardless if you're playing that league or not.
That's great. And I'm gonna end my little part on this. I think it's wonderful that you started a company that does all those things since this NIL is in existence. you're smart to do that because it's the rule. I don't like the rule, but you better bet if I'm able to do what I want to do and get my own business started that's similar to that, I'm going to do it so that I can, make money off of that and influence my community and do all of that too. I don't have any problem with you doing that. I think that's wonderful. But there's thousands of athletes that's not going to be able to participate in programs like that or seek out companies like that. They're still not even going to think about it. But I do applaud you for having the insight to do something like that and start a business like that because it is greatly needed. Greatly needed.
I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get to this interview, man. Now,
I told you not to start with that question.
No. I knew what I was doing. I like that we started with that question because well, see, I've been following DP for a couple years now, so I see where he coming from.
DP, I'm new to the party, but since I've been looking at your stuff this week, you all right with me. I'm gonna keep following.
I look at his skits. I see the people he training. I see where some people be like, "Why you talk about athletes?" Then he go back and show them tape of himself. Like, hold on now, your boy DP used to get night. Like I've seen it all, seen all that. So, like I said, but I want to know what it was like, going to high school, Dallas, playing in Texas high school football. Can you break that down to us and what it was like in your experience?
Texas high school football, it's just like it's a culture, it's a cult. My home stadium that I played in is my home high school stadium is 21,000 seats. So
for a high school.
Yeah, they Sharon. Sharon, I'm gonna tell you something, Sharon. But hold on, DP. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good.
I flew to Dallas, and when you fly over, you'll see like these stadiums. You'd be like, that can't be where the Cowboys play at, because it'll be a lot more stuff around it. Then they was like, no, that's the high school, and Kyler Murray High School got a Nike shop in it. I said, what? like what that? That's why I said I wanted to hear about it from him. How this college, this Texas high school football.
It's just a culture. Like when you watch the movie Friday Night Lights, like I won't say like in all the big cities, because big cities got stuff to do, but like in them small cities, like they literally shut down on Fridays to go watch the football game. They're not doing anything else. Everybody's at the game. We're having I think it's out in Prosper. They're about to build a $90 million stadium at the end of this year. A $75 million one just went up last year. Like these schools are putting up stadiums that are 75 million, 90 million. I believe they're supposed to have one that's supposed to be 100 million. You start at a young age. When I went and played basketball in high school, like I said, I played everything on my freshman year of high school. Receiver, kick return, punt return, did all that. Went to basketball. Got a call to go down to the coach's office. He cussed me and my homeboy out. We were both ended up being national wide receivers. Where are you at? Oh, we're in basketball. You don't effing play basketball at this school. We only play football. Don't ever play another sport. Like talking to he's talking to you like a grown man, like cussing you out. Like you're like, what do you mean? I thought we can hoop. Like, no, you don't do that. This is Texas. This is North Mesquite. At that time, we were sending 5 to 6 guys D1 out of my high school in football every year. So he's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? So when I was in high school, every year I was there because the guys in front of me was good, and then me and my homeboy were good, and then the guys behind me were good. Georgia, USC, Oklahoma, Texas, Alabama, all on our sidelines. Every practice, right? In the spring. It looked like really Friday Night Lights with Booby Miles. When you literally play Texas high school football, you walk around with your chest poked out because you know you're playing against some of the best week in and week out. When I would go to the biggest camps in the nation, the U.S. Army camp is where I got my go at and where I really got my offers. Went down there and went against the number 1 corner in the nation, Bobakar Sissoko. He was out of Michigan. Killed him. The writer comes up to me, says, hey, man, you was out there going against the number 1 guy, blah, 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 blah. Have you ever played against anybody that good? I said, no disrespect to homie. I practice with dudes better than him. And as you know, recruiting is recruiting. Guys, the number one rated guy is not the number one guy. You know how all that goes. School, area, blah, 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 speed. I was like, but I'm not going to lie. Like, I practice with guys better than him. Like, at my school, my dad was training the number 2 corner in the nation, which was also the number 5 running back in the nation, number 2 linebacker in the nation, number 7 safety in the nation, number 10 safety in the nation. All at the same school. That was that's what it is. Like I said, you got those guys just compounded on teams. And remember, in Texas, this isn't Cali where, you're putting private schools together and you're doing that, or IMG where people are flying. This is pretty much.
I was about to say that. IMG.
What school you go to where you live. And there's a couple of guys that, move, but these other states be like, oh, we beat Texas. Bro, you're playing a public school that's people going there by their address, and you got 3 Florida kids, 8 Texas kids, 4 Cali kids, and 10 Vegas kids on your starting team. Yeah, if you cherry pick across the country. So that's why people, when they're like, oh, we beat Texas, we like, but did you really beat Texas? Or did your stacked national team beat our local teams? So it's just a lot of pride, when you play. When you go to college, they literally say, "Oh, you went to Texas," and they're coming at you, rightfully so, right? Because they're trying to show Texas football ain't all that.
That's always been my thought when I was in high school, because we had some guys who actually moved to Texas to go play high school.
Yeah,
and they was nice, and I'm in Philly. Okay. So they was nice in Philly, but they moved to Texas to go play high school football. Or I had some guys who moved to Florida to go play high school football, and I'm like, well, why can't we create that same magic right here?
And see, this is why I think people get it mixed up with Texas high school football and everybody else. There's good people everywhere. There's not the culture of Texas high school football.
Right.
That's the difference. There's good players. Your stadiums look like your stadiums. We wouldn't play Pee Wee football in that. Like every year we played, our first Pee Wee football game was at the Cowboy Stadium. That's where we played. So in talking about the Cowboy Stadium, my junior year, South Lake Carroll played Euless Trinity, number 1 in the state versus number 2 in the state on Saturday. 55,000 people in attendance. The next day, the Cowboys had 47,000 people at their game on Sunday. This is before the new Jerry's World was there. This is the old Cowboy Stadium.
Yeah.
So that's what type of football. So that's why I keep telling people, it's like, we're not saying Florida's not good. Bro, there's good dudes in Iowa. But y'all don't put 55. Mind you, this is not a state championship game. Y'all aren't playing a football game versus 1 and 2 and 55,000 pulling up. It's the culture more than just having, go look at the NFL. Yes, it's always Texas and Florida who has the most guys in the NFL, partly to do bigger states, more people, but we treat it different. But it's not just the football. It's how do you treat football. Football is, I know when I talk to other people, like in Kansas, they don't have spring football. We have spring football. Kansas, they practice after school. And Texas football is actually one of your class periods. It's the culture of, it's that's 7th period or it's first period. That's part of yours. When you look at your report card, football is on your report card. It's a class period. It's not after school. It's a period of the day. So that's the difference. When we talk about Texas football, my kids that I train here, they play football year round. I try to tell them not to because you're doing too much wear and tear, but that's what they do out here. It's I'm like, y'all got to stop, but that's the culture. We play football in Texas.
All right. Now, in your high school days, let me just say this. Name some of the people who, went on to, get to the NFL that, were at your high school. Or matter of fact, not even the NFL. Name some of the people that were very nice at your high school that you was like, yeah, this guy was special. Either he should have went to the NFL or he did go to the NFL.
Terrell Brown, the first NFL guy we trained. My dad trained him. He's a little older than me. Number 2 corner in the nation. Number 5, running back in the nation. He went to UT, won a national championship. My high school, same high school. Aaron Harris went to UT. He was the number 2 linebacker in the nation. Won the national championship. I had a kid that graduated 3 years after me. He played for the Bills for 3 years. My best friend that went to school with me, Cowboys, Steelers, Colts. Another guy, lineman, he went to OU. He went
What's his
to
name?
play
You
with
didn't say his name.
Josh Ladnoy. He played with the Cowboys for a little bit.
Okay.
Man, like I said, the list, like if I went through my high school list from about 2002 through 2012, I got about 40 or so guys that's D1 guys that, and then just in the Mesquite high schools, because there's 5 of them. We got all type of NFL guys coming out of there. We probably have had, out of those 5 high schools in the last 15 or so years, 25, 30 guys in the NFL at different points, probably a little more. So hundreds of guys. Just my company that I own alone. Mind you, we just started branching off in 2019 to come out where I am and more people coming in. We have over 500 scholarship athletes through the company that I'm in alone, and most of those people were just coming out of Mesquite, which is my hometown.
Yeah, that's your hometown,
So,
Mesquite, Texas.
In Michigan,
Dallas.
spring ball is where you practice football in the spring outside of the season, just like college, how they have spring ball. A lot of states don't have that in high school. Texas, we do have that. We have spring ball, summer ball, winter ball. Football doesn't stop in the off season. Like we have my high school off season was on the equivalent of what college was or harder. We did everything we did in college in Texas ball. We had guys coming from Ohio, Michigan, St. Louis. They had never touched weights because they didn't have they just went and played basketball. There was no off season for football. Or they went and played baseball, even though they wasn't good because there was no off season. Like all the Texas guys came in when I was 157 pounds. I came to KU benching 275, squatting 450 at 157 pounds. We had linebackers.
When you was in 9th grade, you was what, 140 or 130?
Heck no, I was 110. When I got to
damn,
varsity, I was 120. I was 120 pounds when I got on varsity. Like I said, I was only 157 after the season ended in November. I got to 157. I was about 140, 142 at the end of my senior football year. I put on that weight from November until when I got there in June, working out with my pops.
You and Devontae Smith, he was 120 in 9th grade. Shit, you was 110.
Yeah, but see, he's taller than me. I was only, like I said, in 9th grade, I was probably 5'5".
He was 5'5", yeah.
Yeah, I'm right under 5'8" right now. So that's when we talked about before this. When I said I didn't want to go to certain schools, is you got to realize there's not a lot back in 2008. There's not a lot of schools that make sense for a guy that's 5'7", 145 pounds to go to blocking. Right. I had to go to where I knew they was going to throw the ball. Like Nebraska was like, oh, we want you, but you're going to be a 3rd down gadget return man. I was like, bro, I'm playing once again, right? I play in Texas high school football, the highest division, which was 5A, which is 6A now. We went, and I'm first team wideout and first team kickoff and punt return. Don't tell me you about to make me a gadget player. I'm like, I'm in Texas.
But you was first team wideout in Texas, the whole state of Texas?
Yeah, all of Texas. 6A, the highest division. Mm-hmm. And first team
and
kickoff and punt return.
So now explain these scholarship offers, because we all know you chose Rock Chalk Jayhawk, Kansas, but explain these scholarship offers that was coming to you and how you was like, I can't go here because of this and I can't go there because of that.
So Wisconsin offered me. I'm like, for one, y'all don't throw the ball. This is before Russell Wilson even got there. Y'all don't throw the ball, and it's too cold. Kansas was named too cold, but at least I was from there. Family on 20 minutes on each side of the school. I really never wanted to go to Kansas because my dad was a KU fan. I never was a KU fan. My first schools was Illinois, and then you got Rice. Then I had Air Force, then Navy, then Colorado State, and then Utah started coming in, and some of the bigger schools. So to go back, to not go all the way back, but what we was talking about with even the NIL stuff and education, I was set on going to Rice because, once again, my pops told me in 7th grade when I made an 86 in math, if you make one more B in math, you're ineligible for the rest of the year. So I grew up on education. So I wanted to go to Rice because it's the Harvard of Texas is what they call it. But then once I kind of seen it didn't make sense because some of the football program was moving. I was like, well, I wanted to then go to Texas Tech. Mike Leach and them was weird. I was like, this it's just crazy up here. And there was nothing in Lubbock. So the next best place on the ball, I got family in Kansas. But like I said, Florida was and I'm also a person who know who I am. I was a dog. But Florida was sending me handwritten letters. Percy Harvin. I seen Chris Rainey at the U.S. Army camp. Coldest dude I ever seen. Jeff Demps running a 10 flat in high school. I was taking my USC letters and throwing them over my shoulder because I said I don't want to sit for 3 years or 4 years behind these dudes. I'm going to a school where I can play immediately, and that's what I did. So even with me being from Texas, I still had awareness of who I've seen and what they were capable of. And I'm not scared of competition, but it's about getting on the field and being productive to go to the next level and not what school you go to if you sit on the bench.
Okay. All right, well, I got to turn this over to the chocolate girl because you only got like a half hour left. I got to let her get her stuff off. So, chocolate girl, go ahead, do your thing.
Oh, no, Dennis, you can stay on because I don't have a whole lot more questions because we really talked about mostly everything within the confines of that conversation. But I'll give you a good question from the audience. Trisha Joy is asking, which school do you think most kids overlook but has a great program?
That's hard to say because if I didn't go like to that school, right? Like I always judge the program on the kid, right? Because I could say that's a great program for me because they throw the ball. But so that's an amazing program. But for the running back, he's like, man, that's a terrible program. But I would say there's not a specific school, but I will say that too many kids overlook good schools that they can play at and that will actually treat them better than and I'm not saying Alabama don't treat their kids good, but we got to use an Alabama or a Georgia. You're expendable. Georgia can get any player in the nation. So let's just say you go to
not now.
But I'm just saying, like in general, right? Like Georgia or Alabama want to get more than what Kansas can.
Right.
So Kansas has more of that incentive to be like, man, we got to treat this kid right because he can leave us, especially with this portal. I sat down with Nick Saban in the living room for one of my kids. Nick Saban walked straight up. He was a 5-star, number 7 corner in the nation. Nick Saban said, hey, man, just like Urban Meyer told another one of my kids. And I salute them for doing it because it's real. You are an amazing player. And we would really love to have you on our football team. But we don't need you on our football team. We're going to win national championships with you or without you. And I said, hey, you got to respect that, bro. And you got other coaches that be like, dang, we need this guy. So, right, they're going to roll out the red carpet for you. They're going to make it a little easier on you. I'm not saying that's always the best thing, but for everybody, sometimes that guy does need the lenient coach because they're a knucklehead, right? For instance, like the Angel Reese situation. Angel gets to do what she did and come back because how good she is and what Moki and all of them got going. Some guys aren't Angel Reese good, but they're good enough for a school to want to help you move along. Texas, when they're rocking and rolling, OU, when they're rocking and rolling, Bama said, bro, you messed up. Bye. Let me get the next 5-star in here. So I tell people, stop overlooking good schools for the great school that don't care about you and you're just literally another 5-star. There's a lot of 5-stars starting to figure that out. There's some going to Virginia. The one Burden, I think his name is, for the wide receiver for Mizzou. He could have went to Georgia, Alabama, everything. Went to Mizzou, up for the Blitnikoff, had an amazing year. And Mizzou's treating him like a king. He could have went to Bama and been another guy. So that's what I tell people that.
Just pay attention. They need to pay attention to that. Yeah, they need to pay attention to that. Yeah.
They pay attention too much to the name on the front of the jersey and not really who's the coach there, what's the depth chart like, what's the culture there. And I tell people they don't even go as far as into this. You're from Dallas. 8 Dallas kids have literally went to that school. 8 Dallas kids have got kicked off the school. You might not want to go there because there's something from what y'all are learning in your environment that's not translating to that school.
To that school, yeah.
It might be because you out in the middle of the country in Texas A&M and you might be from South Dallas, from the hood. And they ain't doing all that up there with them farmers and them cadets. You might not even be a bad person, but you just don't fit in there. Just like our head coach was, I had 3 head coaches when I was at Kansas. Second head coach was a black guy, Turner Gill. He was doing amazing at Buffalo. But the kid Buffalo gets, the black kid Buffalo gets, is not the same black kid Kansas was getting. Our kids was coming from Dallas, St. Louis, and Florida. Dogs. But he came in preaching the Bible and everything else. Them kids is hungry. They ain't trying to hear that. So he was being nice and he was lenient. So that's the same thing with a coach. You can preach that at Buffalo when a guy barely made it into D1 ball and you're getting a kid from Iowa and this and that. You getting kids from Dallas that are ignorant, man. And I used to tell them, I said, Coach, they don't respond to you praying for them in practice. You got to put them on the bench. You got to run them. You got to really talk to them as a man. You can't be buddy-buddy. So it goes for players and coaches. You got to know if you fit in a situation.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Trisha Joy asked another good question about kids that are athletes, and it kind of goes in hand with my question. So I'm just going to ask my question.
Okay.
And it's about the state of the health of children athletes. Is enough being taught surrounding health and fitness and safety to our kids now in sports?
No. That's why I try and get online and do so much of the educational part, because it's not being taught. All I tell my athletes and my parents are, you got to understand what you're doing, who you're doing it with, why you're doing it. Stop going out here training all day, and now you got 10-year-olds tearing ACLs. You got 12-year-olds who have had 5 concussions. There's not enough being taught because it's not even the NIL money, because even without the NIL money, you still see Patrick Mahomes with a $500 million deal. So the parents before NIL still were seeing whatever the athletes were making, right? So they want to live through their kids to go get the NFL or NBA money. So they're putting their kids through so much training, so rigorous of off season while still playing off season football, and they're not taking care of these kids' bodies. I literally had a kid last week had to leave the game from a hit that he took. Well, yesterday was a playoff game to go to the semifinals out here in Texas. And they was like, yeah, they think he has a concussion. And I literally looked and said, how many guys that actually had concussions leave the football game? Not many. They stay on the sideline. Right. So I said, the fact that a man left the football game in the middle as a starter, leading tackler on your team, and he's playing this week, y'all wrong. I said, y'all wrong. And I said, guess what? He's going to go play, because all athletes do, because they understand what the team is counting on, the peer pressure of the coach of, hey, man, you don't got to go if you can't. But if you can, we would love to have you out there. What's that translating in a 14, 15-year-old kid's mind? Get your ass on the field, bro. And he played good. But guess what? He was out there hitting, and hopefully he didn't get another concussion, but he out there hitting. He doing all that. So I understand that everybody wants to see their kid and their athletes and win and hold up a trophy, but I'll never put a kid out there that and when they're not supposed to be, and I take care of them. Even in my facility, it gets hot. We got the metal buildings, the doors. In the summer, they be like, they don't need no water. Why y'all keep getting all these water breaks? I said, because your kid ain't going to fall out in here on me. I said, if you don't want them to get water breaks when it's 105 in Texas, take them somewhere else to train. That's how I talk to these parents. What do you mean? It's 105 and we're in this building. What you mean don't give them no water? I said, you can go run your kid into the ground and let him fall out. So he ain't falling out on my watch. Kid in there limping. Go harder. No, he's done. Even if he's faking, I don't know. You need to talk to your son outside of this session about not faking. But once I see fatigue, once I see injury, we're done. That's not my son. I'm not running your kid into the ground. You talk to your son about faking this and that. But I'm all for, like I said, not only just player empowerment, person empowerment. Like you can't treat these kids like anything, and their parents will treat them worse than anybody.
Yeah, that leads to my next question from the audience, from Trisha Joy. What's the importance of parent involvement and participation participation in these children's sports?
The parents are everything in their participation, and not only on the football field and basketball court, but in school. So when I say all this, I always preface it with like, I just don't like to talk the talk. My mom has owned an in-home daycare since I was 4 years old. She still runs it. My dad was a Dallas police officer, and
25 years.
25 years, right?
Right.
And I taught for 5 years, and my brother's a teacher for 7. I've seen the worst of the worst. I've seen kids in kindergarten getting out the car, puff of weed smoke coming out.
Yeah.
Right? I see what type of music they play. When we're in the lunch line, I see the kids saying, Coach, did you watch Power last night? I'm asking, why did you watch Power last night? Well, I watched it with my mom and dad. And always my best kids, guess what? Their parents bring them to the facility. They sit there and watch them train and see what they need to work on and what they're doing good and what they can do better. The kids that are just coming, the parents drop them off at the road. They run in, they run back out. The D1 kids' parents are watching them, especially when they're young. Now, when they're 15, 16, 17, and they start driving themselves, that's different. But when you're growing, I need to know what my 9-year-old is doing. So if you, as a parent, aren't involved in what your kid is doing, there's a very low likelihood that your kid is going to get to where you want them to go. Because you're not able to, because if they're only coming to me 1 or 2 times, that means you need to be in there to be hearing what I'm telling them, because there's still 4 to 5 other days you got to be working with this kid on that. Your kid don't go to school one day. They go there 5 days for a reason, so they can do it over and over and over. They come to me once or twice, and you're not coming in there so they can now get those extra 3 to 4 days of consistency. I get on these parents all the time, to their face, online, and they get mad. Oh, you're talking about, yeah, I'm talking about y'all, because y'all aren't doing right by these kids. And the reason why I can go online and talk about these athletes, talk about these kids, and you see my stuff, nothing malicious, but keeping it real, is because I've been fortunate enough to say training doesn't just, I make a lot of money training, really a lot, but I make more money over here, I make more money over here, more money over here. So I'm not scared to talk about any NFL guy, whereas the other trainers won't say nothing about them because that's their livelihood. I talk about the NFL guys doing these trainers bad, and you probably didn't see it, Chocolate, but like literally, I know a trainer that trained a kid from 5th grade, and this same athlete made $100 million, and you know how much he made off that how much he paid his trainer? 0.
What?
0. That's how these athletes do, these boys. And guess what? I call them out every time to their face, tell them, if you come over here, I'm gonna need that money. Not because I'm money hungry, it's because I'm running a business. And you'll go give it to Louis Vuitton, Nike, and you'll go, I've been with my athletes, $20,000 in an hour and a half at the club. But me asking you for $100 for a session so you can go make another $10 million is too much. No, we don't do that over here.
Right.
But I can call these guys out because I don't care about training them. My girlfriend's dad always told me, because I started dating a while back, he said, the biggest thing you got to learn in life, son, is you got to put yourself in position to call an asshole when he's being an asshole.
That's right.
So that's how I put myself in position to say all y'all NFL guys are wrong, and these trainers are living dang near at minimum wage, working with just their kids because they trying to grow up, but they got you. And you could have gave that man $100,000, but you spent $100,000 in the strip club in 1 month. How can I say I got single moms paying me whatever they're paying me? And this is how fair I am as a person. My NFL athlete will pay the exact same as a single parent. The single parent's just gonna come once. The NFL athlete, I'm gonna make my money because you're coming 5 times a week or whatever. You don't go to McDonald's and they say you Tom Brady, it's $10 for the burger. But I'll also pay a single mom's bill while her son's training in my facility and nobody knows. So I'm fair across the board. I've done that for white folks, black folks, single moms, single dads. I just try to live my life at a level to where I can actually say what I say, and you can't point and say, but you, because I know if I talk like I talk, I got to walk in that same way.
Right. I got you. That's honorable too. But speaking of the NFL, that leads to my next question. We are often talking about Black coaches and the lack thereof in the NFL. The lack of opportunities and in the way that they're treated once they do get an opportunity to coach, be it head coach, offensive coordinator, or what have you. So what do you think about the way Black coaches are treated in the NFL? And you can even branch into the NBA as well. How do you feel? Do you feel like there's an issue? There is a real issue? Because I've seen several people tell me it's not really based upon race. And I'm like, yes, it is. And they insist it's not. So.
It's 100% based off of race. And I would say the NBA, I don't have much of a gripe with the NBA because in the next 6 to 8 years, all their coaches about to be Black. They got like over half the league now, and they're former players. So the NBA has been progressive for a while. The NBA's player can go out there, kneel, talk about George Floyd, and do whatever, and they can go hoop. It's the NFL players that the owners say, you kneel and you off this team. Right? And there's a problem with you got guys in the NFL, Black coaches going 9-8 and getting fired. And then in the exact same organization, a white coach going 9-8 and saying, wow, look at the turnaround. What are you talking about? They have the same record. And that guy actually y'all traded for a better quarterback for him. Every time I've seen the Staleys get a decent Chargers team. Why? Name me the good team outside of the Steelers that a Black quarterback get. We get the Texans, which my man is doing good down there. But the Black coaches always get the teams that's going to fail. You're going to get the Browns. You're going to get the Texans. You're going to get all these teams where you're bound to fail. Why when the Chargers come open, a lot of the brothers don't get jobs like that? So my thing is what Staley's done with the Chargers and the how incompetent he's been and how many games they've lost. There's no Black coach that could have done the exact same job and lost the games like they've lost and lost a 30-point lead at halftime at home in a playoff game and still have his job.
Nope.
There's no Black coach that can do that. And it's not only just the Black coaches, it's still the Black quarterbacks. Tell me all the Black quarterbacks that get to be backups after they're done playing. But I can tell you Colt McCoy and Chase Daniels. Chase Daniels has started 8 NFL games, thrown 3 NFL touchdowns, and has made over $50 million. The guy that started for the Jets last week, guess what? He went to UConn, played 19 games at UConn, 1 TD pass, 13 interceptions, then transferred down to Eastern Kentucky, 11 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. If that's a brother, do you think he even gets looked at the NFL? No, this guy gets in the NFL. How do you get in the NFL with those stats? Then he gets in 2018 and still there today, and he has 3 touchdown passes, 10 picks. How is he still there?
I don't know.
As soon as Cam Newton couldn't flip over people and run him over no more, we was like, get him out the league. But you got guys who had literally, 10 touchdown passes, 25 interceptions in college, and has been in the NFL as a millionaire for the last 5 going on 6 years.
Right.
And I will preface it with this. People make a good argument. If you got older white owners, why would they hire a Black person? People usually hire who they're comfortable with.
Exactly.
So when I did an interview, so that's the problem. But like I said, I'm not saying I'm giving them a pass. But what Jerry Jones, what Black dude Jerry Jones sitting down with me like, yeah, hey man, you from South Dallas, you a coach. I feel where you coming from. No, he identify with them players, but he doesn't identify seeing you as a leader in his eyes. He sat there and told his starting quarterback, you robbed me. What white quarterback would an owner ever be sitting there and say, yeah, Tom Brady, you robbed me? At the press conference. Those are little things we don't even like, really, we laugh at them and don't really see, like, bro, that's disrespectful.
I always said he talked too much.
In front of everybody. Like, come on, bro. So, like I said, my girl's dad, 76 years old. He was one of the first guys. He was the 3rd Black kid to go to the high school he went to. The people that grew up like that are still alive. That's what I don't think people really understand that. Like, the people that was like, you better not come to my school, spitting on you, are owners. Those people ain't gone yet, right? Their kids aren't the owners. They're still the owners. We seen the picture of Jerry Jones at that school. So he can fake it as much as he wants, but that's how you grew up. So how do I go from that to being like the leader of this organization is going to be a black guy when I said you shouldn't even come to my high school? Those guys are still alive. Martin Luther King would have still been alive. The first black girl that went to the school, she's still alive. So those people aren't going to get put in places by the people that was telling you that you're not a human.
Got you. I understand.
Yeah.
I hear that too.
I think it's coming along because the quarterbacks are getting there. They're slowly getting there. But the gripe I have with that is you're either elite or nothing as a black quarterback.
Right.
You can't not be elite and be a black quarterback.
That's right. You're right. It's still there.
It's
like
elite
that.
Or nothing. The white guys, they can be a Chase Daniels. And once again, I love white folks. I will just speak up every time for my folks, though, on real issues. So there's never none of that over there.
Yeah.
Half my family, they ain't white. but I'm gonna speak on what's real.
Well, yeah, I always say, support for my people is not a mark against your people
at all.
It's just support for my people. My last question before we get back to Dennis is it's an industry question. You're in the fitness industry. That's one of the industries that you're in. How do people who have been unhealthy for years begin a fitness program safely? Besides, we all know the first thing you should do is go consult your doctor. We got that. So beside that standing rule, how do you get started if you've been unhealthy for years?
The first thing you do is stop trying to go on diets. I tell people, stop going on a diet. A diet is a diet because you're trying to do something for a short amount of time.
Right.
If you eat fried chicken every day, 7 days a week, if you drink soda, if you eat candy every day, how about first thing we do is try and get down to 6 days a week. Then you try and get down to 5 days a week. I tell people, if you eat like you eat, do it in moderation. Don't say, I'm going to do keto, or I'm going to do, because you're not going to stick with it. People say, what diet should I go on? I say, nothing. Eat how you eat. Stop doing it every dang day. That's the first thing. Just change the small habits. And if you do that simply right there of not eating bad every day, but eating bad 4 days a week, guess what? Eventually you might get to 2. But even if you go from 7 and stick at 4, that's still 3 days that's better. Now you're going to, especially if you're overweight, you're going to see a change because that's a lot of time to have changed. Then you're going to say, man, maybe I want to just start walking. Literally, just start walking, move around. That's the thing. Everybody wants to jump in for New Year's, right? New Year's resolutions are the biggest thing. I'm going to go hard, but you burn yourself out. I tell diets in your workout session should be something when I sit down and I think about it, can I do this for the next 5 or 10 years of my life? So when people become vegan or vegetarian, I say, so you're not going to eat none of that over there for the next 10 years if you have to do that and lock in. They say no. So I say, why start it? I ask them, when you're working out. So now you're doing these crazy 300 boot camp, right? So you're going to do that for the next, you 35, bro. You're going to do that until you 45, 50, keep on. Hell, I ain't going to be able to. So why even start it? If it's literally me doing 50 push-ups a day and walking on a treadmill for 30 minutes, I'd rather you do that than go hard for a month and quit. Because if you do those 50 push-ups a day, you'll be like, oh, this is easy. Let me do 60. And you will then police yourself on how your body's feeling. And there's nothing better in money, business, investments, health, than seeing a little bit of results. Because what's that do? A trainer don't got to push you no more once I see those 5 pounds drop off. And then you're going to think, dang, I was only doing this. So imagine if I did this. It's no different when you put $10 into the stock market. Dang, I got 10%. I got $1. I know how to do math. If I put 1,000, that would have been 100. So that's what I tell people. Do something that you know you can do consistently, because consistency is going to beat that hard work. If you go work as hard as you want for 2 days out the week. If I just go work at a good rate for 7, I'm going to beat you all the time. So if you be consistent, you'll then start policing yourself, being like, wow, I'm being consistent and this ain't too bad. I'm going to just do a little more. And then you start building up, and it's always a safe way. Don't try and lose 50 pounds in a month. Go try and lose 50 pounds in a year.
Yes. Slow and steady.
But while trying to do the 50 pounds in a year, you didn't really hit 80. Because then you started getting more motivated as you did it. So you then push yourself. I tell people, don't do no diets, don't do no crazy workout routines. You're never going to stick with it. Not if you're not no athlete or no young kid trying to get prepared for something. We got jobs out here. You got kids out here. You ain't about to be doing boot camp at 4 a.m. for the next 5 years. Like, come on, bro. Like, you doing boot camp at 4 a.m. You think you really gonna keep doing that?
Yeah,
Thank you so
good.
much for that. That you said so much in that answer.
That was a different look at it. That was a different
That
look
was
at
good.
things.
That was good though. But
Because
I know
most
you
people
gotta
that go hard, they go right back to where they was at anyway.
exactly. I know you gotta go soon. So Dennis, back to you, dear.
Yes. I just said, I wanted to know what made you start this training. What made you start being a trainer? Now I know your pops was a trainer while he was a police officer. So what made you go into what I guess is the family business and take it and go bigger?
He started when I was 5 years old, but he did it as like I said, Texas is football. All we did was train for camps, train for the season. So it's more football training, and then in the summer we did a summer camp for all athletes, right? So I get out of college, and I was training some of the KU basketball players when I was up there. I trained the football players, the receivers, the corners. So I get out of college, and I was like, hey, when's summer camp this year? He's like, oh, I stopped doing that 2 years ago. The guy that trained with him messed him over, this, that. I don't do it no more. I was like, no, bro, we got to do it. So we just got all the old numbers from the people we had, called them, got about 33, 35 kids. Did that. And I was like, man, I like doing this. I said, Pops, I don't want to work for somebody else. This is right when I got out of college. I want to build something. I said, but the difference is you did it as a hobby because you were a police officer. You had another career. I said, I want this to be my career. I want to do everyday training for every athlete, every sport. I don't want to be a wide receiver coach like those guys or a DB coach. I want to do everything. So I was like, let's get a logo. Let's change the name because we've always had a nonprofit. It was always Raw Power Sports, but I like Floyd Mayweather. I got into boxing big in college. So that's why I got the 2 T's. The money team, that's how I got to the Raw Power team with the 2 T's from Raw Power Sports.
Okay.
But I see my pops do so much for the community. Put it this way, we'd have 100 kids at the camp, $150 a kid. You can do the math on how much money that is. We never left the summer with over $1,500. Because if they didn't pay, they just didn't pay. And I was like, that's wrong. I was like, imagine, this was an 8-week camp, 4 days a week, 2.5 hours a day for $150.
That ain't bad.
They wouldn't pay. So when I started doing that,
that's actually cheap, honestly.
No, that I would not think about doing that. Think about this: 2.5 hours, 4 days a week for 2 months for $150. You tell me where you can go do anything in the world for that.
No way.
But he did it for the love, and I'm showing y'all the love, and y'all still do what you do. I said, so Pops, we running a business from now on. So it was my pops and some older gentlemen. And in the black community, we guilt ourselves. Oh, we can't be charging like that because we got to give back. How can I said, what do you mean, how can they pay? All the people that train with us that's not paying you. Mom drive a BMW. The kid got every Jordan that comes out. They got the PlayStation. What you mean? He was like, but we got to give back and be charitable. And I literally said this at 24 years old to my dad, who was for 48. The other guy was like 57. I said, how are we going to be charitable if we the charity case? You know what every charity has? Money that they can give back. Can't be charitable if you make $0. I said, this company can be a national brand, an international brand. And back then, this is before social media blew up. So you know how the talk goes, especially from the older black men. Hey, young fella, we've been there, we've done that. We know you're trying to set the world on fire, but that's not how the world works. So I lived with my parents at that time. Love my mom, love my dad. And I said, you know what? I can't keep trying to drag y'all along if y'all don't believe in my vision. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do my thing under TRPT. Y'all do y'all's thing. And when I get to where I get, I'll welcome y'all with open arms. And every day I see the guy that was my dad's partner that said that. I actually seen him last night at the game. And this is every time because he understands how he used to talk to me. So even 10 years later, he still said every time. I remember when I told you, you was just a knucklehead kid with a big vision that wasn't going to work. And I said, I don't fault you for that because somebody told you that before. And I said, and you listened to it. But and this just came up, but I also posted yesterday on Facebook. discouragement has killed more people than any gun has.
Yes.
Some people that look like us, because the OGs, it didn't work for them, they say you can't do it either.
Or if they don't see you, and sometimes don't be the OGs, it could be like somebody, one of your homies, you can tell them your whole vision. But if they don't see your vision, then they don't want nothing to do with it. But then when they see you, now you done went crazy and got your vision going. Now they see your vision. Now they want in.
Yeah, so
like Rick Ross said, no, you supposed to be with me when I couldn't sleep for 6 days.
Right.
My homeboys that went to the NFL literally tell me, we playing Call of Duty. Hey, bro, seeing what you're doing. I see your event, this, that. I just want to say salute to you. Because he's like, I remember when you started your company and I laughed at you. He said, I laughed at you, bro. Oh, he doing this because guess what? They looking from up here because they in the league. And I'm down here starting something. And it's easy to look at me that starting from zero. Like my dad did all that. But when I started, my first 3 clients outside of the summer camp was only made like $500 because we split it between like 4 trainers. Was 2 boot camp ladies. One was 55, one was like 52. Charging $10 an hour. That's what they seen. So they laugh because they getting the league checks. And now all of them asking me, how do I do this? How do I set up now? I had a vision to do it. So it was never even about the money for me because you don't get into anything where you're charging $10 an hour thinking, because trainers wasn't making, when I got into training, trainers wasn't making what we make now. I have kids come from New York. I've had people come from overseas. I had a kid, put it this way, travel from Altus, Oklahoma, 5.5 hours away to train with me for 6 hours on Saturdays, 4 hours on Sundays. After 3 months of doing that, his mom asked me, should they move to Texas to play football? She had a husband, 3 kids. I said, if your son moves down here, he will be a Division I athlete. They moved down here. Within a year, the mom and the dad's jobs messed up down here. I never knew this kid from any other kid ever. He was in 9th grade. Mom and dad moved down here. A year later, they moved back to Oklahoma. I said, leave your son here with me and my parents. I promise you, if he came down here, he'd go D1. That kid lived with my parents and me for 3.5 years. He went to the University of Minnesota on a full-ride scholarship. That's what we got into it for. I never had met this kid in my life. This isn't a family member or a kid I knew. She was at the U.S. Army camp, asked somebody who should they train with. They said a guy in Dallas. They came 5.5 hours now. So those are the things that got me into it for the love of really helping out because I seen my dad do it forever. But I said, but while we help out, we still got to make a living and be able to give back. So that's why I got into it because my dad was a police. He did it. My mom did it. I only seen them be charitable. But at the same time, while he had a training business and my mom had a daycare, I never heard them say the word business owner or entrepreneur ever one time in my life.
No.
So I teach them those things nowadays, and I teach the 5- and 6-year-old kids when they come in there and say, it's my birthday. I said, well, what you get? They say, I got some money. I said, what you gonna buy? They be like, oh, I'm gonna buy me these Jordans and this belt because I'm gonna get the girls. I said, don't do that. And I say, see, you didn't open up a can of worms. Now, instead of you telling me about your birthday party, we about to talk about life. So that's what I do. And then their parents be like, you just sit there and talk to a 6-year-old at a 6-year-old level about investing in business and why he shouldn't be trying to impress these girls with no belts and no Jordans. I said, because I would feel wrong if I just let it slide. I can't sleep at night knowing because one day I'm going to see that same dude make it to the league and he's been buying now all them belts and the same thing. And I'm like, I should have told him that when he was 6. Now, if he goes to still do it, I can sleep at night because I did tell you about it, young fella. You just chose not to listen.
Well, I want to thank you for coming out, DP. This has been good. I know you got the roll. Well, like I said, this has been good. I had a good time. Chocolate Girl enjoyed herself.
Yes, I did.
Enjoy Chocolate Girl. So I'm glad like we got past the NIL to now like y'all got to see more of why I'm a little bit more passionate about because I'm not thinking NIL is cool and this and that. I'm all for that's why I'm so passionate because I like I said, I tell all my people I care zero about that NFL check because what I'm doing to the day I pass away, me and mine will be good. So the NFL only gonna get if you don't make it to year 5 and get that second one, you're gonna be behind the guys that never even made it there. Yeah. So that's why I want it. So I'm to be honest, I love, like I said, the back and forth. We got to be able to go back and forth because a lot of black folks, right? We can't do that without it getting ignorant,
getting heated. Yeah. Trisha Joy put in the comments that you're very inspirational, and you are.
No, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Like I said, I love going back and forth with people that look like me and doing it in the right way because we're passionate. People, right? The other folks think because a voice get yelled at, we ain't about to fight nobody. Like, right? That's, we've been out and you see black folks over there, we ain't about to fight. We over there just talking about what we talking about. We do it in a different way. So I've been on a lot of these podcasts while also not doing a lot of them. And I'm gonna tell you, this has been one of the ones that I've enjoyed the most. Y'all got me up at 7:45 in my time. So and you see, like I brought the energy because I feel the energy that y'all are bringing, and I can tell good people that are trying to do good things. So I definitely appreciated the engagement from Ms. Joy, from yourself, from both of you. Like it's much needed, and y'all, and I just want to salute y'all. Like it's an inspiration to me what y'all are doing. Like I take inspiration from everybody. I've done the YouTube thing, I've done the podcast thing, I've done it all. And I stopped. I started because I just got so many things going. But then when I see people like you all doing it, I'm like, man, I don't care what I need to make more time. I got to do it. I got to do more. I don't care how much I'm doing. So salute to y'all because y'all done. You said every Saturday morning, and that's tough, and that's schedule, and that's discipline. So I don't just say that to be like, well, y'all told me. No, like for real, this has been one of the best ones, and it's Miss Sharon, right?
Yes.
Miss Sharon, you have been. We did our skip in Shannon this morning, and I'll tell you everything, even though I don't like what you was talking about. I'll do it 100 more times with you because if we don't hear both of the sides of the argument, we don't get better. Even if I'm saying the right thing, you saying the right thing, you only learn so much if you don't hear another side because it even expands your mind to even if I don't believe this or that, I heard that argument, so I'm going to even move even better in this way. So I'll do it 100 more times with you about 100 different topics because it needs to be done and we got to have the back and forth and educate on all sides for us to move forward.
Anytime. We'll have to have you back. I enjoyed it.
No, I 100% enjoyed it. And once again, thank y'all again. Y'all just let me know and we'll keep moving.
Yes, we'll definitely have you back. And like I said, I want to tell everybody out there, thank y'all for rolling with us this morning. We came through a little early for y'all, 9 a.m. It was 8 a.m. his time. Yeah, got him up real early. But you know what? He came through. DP came through in the house. Rock Chalk Jayhawk guy. And we want to tell y'all, God bless and
don't
great.
Be saying, you see it in the background. Don't be saying,
No.
But what school did you go to? You said a Big Ten school. What was your school?
Michigan State. I'm a Spartan.
See, I'm gonna leave it right there. I'm gonna just let you
leave it right there. Leave it right there. Don't talk about my school. I love my school.
Hey, y'all had a lot of issues going on. I'm gonna leave it right there. Next time I jump on here, we're gonna talk about Michigan State. That's what we're gonna talk about. We can do 3 hours on y'all.
We can. I love my university.
No, dude, no, you should, but I gotta give you a hard time. But no, y'all enjoy. I gotta run and go run these kids into the ground after I just told y'all I was nice to them.
Enjoy yourself.
Bye, everybody.
Have a good one.